Okay, we are here with Indiana State football coach Mike Sanford. Mike, your theme this season has been prove it with this team, and you've given them a schedule to prove it. I mean, Liberty is another challenge, big challenge, and just talk about kind of how this fits within kind of the scope of the season and what this game means in terms of this team continuing to prove that they can be successful.
Well, I think the whole concept of prove it is critical in this game because right now we're 2-1. We had a bye, and we're going into a very difficult part of the season. We've got a top 25 team coming in here in Liberty, and we need to prove it. We need to prove what we are and who we are, and that we deserve to be considered in the top level of this conference. And that's something we've got to prove. We can talk about it all we want, but we've got to prove it.
The first thing that jumps out when you look at Liberty, of course, is their passing game. Their quarterback and their top wide receiver both are ranked nationally in yardage, and just talk about the challenge that presents for your pass defense on Saturday.
Well, that's huge. I think the first thing I'll say, though, is we got to stop the run. They are about a 60% run team, and we can't lose track of the fact that we've got to stop the run. That's the number one thing we got to stop. Now, that being said, they have a great quarterback. They have a great receiver. We've got to keep them under control and not allow any huge plays. And what's happened is they've gotten some big plays in the passing game, a bunch of big plays in the passing game, and we've got to control that.
Are they primarily doing that off a lot of play action if they're running that much? I mean, how are they kind of operating their passing game?
Well, some play action and then some pure drop back stuff. A mixture of both, and we've got to be able to defend both.
Defensively, what's the challenge for Liberty? I mean, what's the challenge for your offense to move the ball against them?
Well, they've got a great safety, first team All-American safety. He is a really good player. He makes a lot of plays. He's their leading tackler, if I'm not mistaken. And first of all, we need to get him blocked, and we gotta complete balls and keep it away from him. I think he was ranked in the country in interceptions last year. He's a very good football player. We've got to do a great job. They are a four-man front. They do a really good job. They're a solid team, and we've got to move the football on them, and we've got to mix making drives down the field, and then we also have to be able to hit some big plays, big chunk plays on them.
How do they compare? And it's hard to compare teams like this sometimes, but when you look at them in comparison to Ball State and Indiana, where do they fit? I mean, where do they kind of fit in that pecking order?
It's hard for me to tell because, we just don't know as much about the competition that they've played because we don't know much about those teams. Other than North Carolina, I think North Carolina's down this year a little bit. But the bottom line is I think that they're a top-level FCS football team. I think they compare very favorably with Ball State, probably better than Ball State. Top to bottom. I think the running back and the offensive line for Indiana were about as good as it gets, in my opinion. So I don't think I could say that they're better than Indiana, but I do think that they're right there with and probably better than Ball State.
It's the first of 3 home games in a row. And I don't know how much you guys talk about things like that with the team. Obviously, most teams are one game at a time, but it is an opportunity to build some momentum and, just talk about how important it is to do that. And, it's a tough first step, but it's an important first step. It's
a huge first step. And, it's the game this week, and we need to be 1-0 this week, and that's what all that matters. It's a huge game because it's at home. Playing at home and winning at home is very important to us, and that's huge, and that's something we got to do.
All right, thanks a lot.